We're going to talk about leadership versus integrity today. Very nice topic. All right. Welcome. Welcome. And so this is our second episode for 2023. And I'm glad you're here with us. We're going to enjoy talking about and sharing some ideas and discussing leadership versus integrity and how integrity factors into your success and into life. So I wanted to have you join the conversation. Please comment and share any thoughts you have, ask any questions. Feel free to make a comment. Thanks. We appreciate it. And I want to introduce our co-hosts here today. So we have Cori Fonville Foster. Sorry about that. And she is the CEO and coach providing marketing and business, establishing your business coaching. And then we also have um, Monica Bonzanov. And sorry, anyway, and so she's a high level coach and provides leadership and entrepreneurship and is very helpful to those that want to take their business to another level. So, with that, we're going to get started with a conversation. And what we want to talk about is how and why are you passionate about helping people with leadership and using your zone of genius? So we're going to start with Monica. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think we all have the ability to lead, but we lead in different ways. And when you build your business, right, we're talking about leadership and integrity. To be able to lead with integrity, we need to come from a place of leadership that is authentic from ourselves. And too often we are taught how to lead. You need to lead by the book, this way, the way that I led my business or my clients to success, right? But that doesn't necessarily fit you. So you need to know your superpower, and that's what you lead from.
That's great. So, Corey, so what makes you passionate about helping people with leadership and using your zone of genius?
Well, I work with a lot of new entrepreneurs, mostly coaches and consultants. And so part of their leadership journey is really being able to lead their particular clients that they'll be working with, but also as they build their teams, they have to learn to be what I call A plus leaders as well. And I always tell anyone I work with, you have to be able to lead the way the people around you need you to lead at that time. I kind of echo Monica when people say you have to be authoritative or you have to be collaborative or democratic or what have you. But truthfully, the best leaders know how to kind of be a chameleon and lead whatever way is best for their team at that given time.
Well, that's great. I think that's one of the key things is people think of leadership as only, the top person in the business. And you both brought home the fact that you lead in so many different ways. You lead as the mom. I focus on helping moms be super moms, and they take such a leadership role both with their kids, with their household. And so I think from a standpoint of looking at leadership, beyond just the scope of being the senior manager at a company, you need to look at it like Corey was saying in all aspects of your life. So I think that we've got some great things going on here. The next thing up is get motivated with today's hot topic, and it's about integrity being important for professionals to thrive in their life and business. So, Cori, what are your thoughts about that? Why is it important for the integrity to in their professions to thrive in life and business?
I think just as people, we should always strive to have integrity because if people don't, if they can't trust you, they can't work with you. And so I think integrity goes hand in hand with leadership. If people can't trust their leader, they're not going to follow it. I'm sure many of us have had that person in a leadership position and we wouldn't even follow them to go to the bathroom. It's like, I don't trust you. I don't know where you're going to lead me to. And so we find that it really does start, I call it the know, like, and trust. People will follow you. They'll be more likely to be able to be led by you and believe that you're going to get them where they need to go if they know, they like, and definitely if you're leading with integrity, they're going to trust you as well.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so words of wisdom from you, Monica. What are your thoughts?
Well, it gets uncomfortable if you don't do what you do with integrity, right? You feel it yourself and other people feel it too. And then it's all this mask and, ooh, you know, and we see that so often. We all feel it. And some people can kind of push through, but after a while, it doesn't feel good. And we want to feel good doing business.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. You know, you brought you brought to mind a funny scenario. You know, I've always been involved with different sales organizations and different salespeople, and you have those salespeople who are on show. They're basically showmen, and they're not really. Their integrity is not even there. I mean, because they're not really being themselves. So you're not inclined. I hate to use the used car salesman, but you know that scenario of you don't listen, you turn off, and so having integrity is really key for a lot of aspects of life and your business. And I think if you practice it in both, then it becomes habit and it's part of you, and therefore uh, you're not showing up fake. We don't want to show up fake. We want to be fun and we want to have fun. So let's stay inspired. And by that, let's answer the question, why is integrity important for professionals? Oh, we did that one. Sorry about that. I'm moving on. So, next up is to keep networking. Who should you ask to help when you are trying to solve the problem of integrity?
The
So
problem.
let's
Ahead,
go
Monica.
with Cori. Let's go with Cori.
So, who should you reach out to when you're trying to solve the problem of integrity? Well, first, I would say look at yourself. If you feel like you aren't being truthful, if you aren't showing up as your authentic self, why is that? Are you uncomfortable? Do you feel like you're not um, knowledgeable enough in your subject area? Do you feel like maybe it's a little bit of imposter syndrome? Do you feel like
Mm.
the people around you won't like you or won't want to do business with you if you're yourself? I think that we have to look internally before we look externally, to say, okay, why am I behaving the way I am? And I would encourage everyone to do that before you start trying to network, before you start trying to do business, before you start trying to do anything with outside people. Say, do I like myself? Can I show up authentically as me? And if not, why? But I definitely encourage you, be you. Who is for you is for you. So if you think you want to work with, you know, A-list stars, then hey, you can work with A-list stars. If you think that you want to work with, you know, single moms, you can work with single moms. You can do that as your authentic self. Don't change who you are to fit maybe what you think someone else that does something similar to you is doing, because I promise you, what's for you is definitely going to be for you if you stay true to yourself.
Yeah, that's great. So, what do you have to add, Monica?
I don't have anything to add. I think Cori said it all.
I know, it's amazing, but it's true. I grew up with in corporate America, and I had in my mind the person I was supposed to be, that role play that I was going to have. And when I went and left corporate America and ended up, starting my own business and stuff, that role play kept playing for me. And you could definitely see that people, weren't responding to me. They didn't trust me. They didn't feel like I was being genuine because I was still pretending to be that corporate person. And we've got Yo in the house. Glad to see
You know,
you. I'm so glad you're here. But it is tough. The when you share yourself, it's part of you. It's who you are. And it's tough because you don't want to be rejected at being that person. And so putting that face on, or putting that, that storyline in front of you. So if you had, the question also was, if you were trying to solve the problem of integrity, who could you ask for help? Is there, for my book, is there somebody, do you feel close enough to someone to be able to reach out and ask how you show up? Monica, does that bring any thoughts to mind?
well, I'm thinking we start out with, basically, we all start out with integrity.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we started a business. We wanted to help. We came from a place of heart, right? I want to help other people, mostly women in, in any kind of coaching space or business building. Most of them started from a genuine wish that they wanted to help, right? And I think that the problem with integrity doesn't start there. So often it starts when you hire a coach, you hire someone to help you with your business, and they say, I think I mentioned this earlier also, right? This is how I did it. This is what you should do, right? That doesn't necessarily work for you. If this person is an extreme extrovert, right, and you're an empath, say, with more of an introvert trait, you can't necessarily build your business the same way.
Yeah.
And when you try, it comes off as fake. And it's not that you are fake, it's that you're trying to build your business in a way that is made for someone else, right? So for me, that's why it's so important to know your superpower that I mentioned earlier, right? If I know what's my superpower, then I know how to lead in a way that is in integrity with who I am. And then I come off as authentic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I lead from the inside and not by, a template, download my template for leading. That doesn't work.
Yeah. So, Cori, that's a good question. You're a business coach, and starting with entrepreneurs, especially, do you have any techniques or things that you do, to help them really zero in on their personality and their super traits?
Yeah, I think any good coach should have a framework, right? Have a framework for how we get people from point A to point B. But within that, there has to be room for people's authentic self, for their customization, for them to show up how they feel comfortable. And so when I work with when I work with clients, I always ask them, what are you comfortable with? What are you not comfortable with? And we also talk about the strategies that they want to employ to get where they want to go, because things are always changing. Things that worked 5 years ago, 2 years ago, like a month ago, no longer work. And so I encourage them to just be themselves, but show up consistently that way. So if you're somebody who just hates Twitter, fine, don't get on Twitter. You know what I mean? That's fine with me. But if you're gonna be on Instagram, then show up on Instagram consistently. That's fine. Maybe you don't like showing your face, then get on Clubhouse, but be on Clubhouse consistently. Maybe you like shorthand emails with little gifs. Okay, well, do that consistently. Because again, it always goes back to the people that are going to be for you will be for you. And I don't want to sound like a broken record saying that, but I really believe it. And I think when people get over the idea of what this person's doing or the next person's doing, and they just find what their zone of genius is and how they feel good in a space, they tend to prosper a lot better. So, of course, as a coach, I'm gonna give you the framework, I'm gonna give you the tools, but I want you to take that, customize it, and make it your own so that you find your own happy place within the success you want to have.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. I hadn't thought about how much the industry has changed. It really has. And it does definitely cause us to rethink. The dress for success is another one that comes up, thinking about how, you used to have to be so conscious about it. And then I went to a business meeting and the guy says, "Hey, I do websites. I dress in jeans and tennis shoes. If that doesn't suit you, I'm not your provider." And it's exactly kind of an example of what you said, Cori. Well,
That's
I'm not sure where we go from here. This has been such a great conversation. So I think there's one more thing. What's one more thing that we can talk about?
There's a question. There
Well,
was a question.
okay. So here's the question. How has integrity been a problem for you in the past, and how did you overcome it? So, how has it been a problem in the past, and how did you overcome it? And we'll start with Monica.
For me, it was, I think for me, my voice is my superpower. And using it properly. Right now, I'm recovering from COVID, and it gets to my voice. So you always have a superpower, and it's also your weak point. It's where you get hit the most, right? And for me, it's been a struggle with, as I started my business, people told me, no, you can't say that. You can't do that. No one likes to hear someone say this or that. But it was those were the words that I needed to speak. Like I talk because I work a lot with emotions. I say that emotions are like people. They want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged, right? And I used words like scary. And I remember having a coach that told me, no, you can't say scary. That's not a grown-up word. Well, emotions doesn't have an age, right? They don't have an age. They are just, they come with what you feel in the moment is what you feel. And stepping up, being seen, being heard can be a scary experience. And I was kind of open with that. And I wanted to have an open conversation about how scary it is stepping up. And then I was told, no, you cannot have that conversation. And then I felt kind of pushed back from speaking the truth. And that was a problem for me, holding that back, because I really believe, going outside your comfort zone can be really scary. And we need to address that and hold the space for those fears and work through them, right? Instead of pushing them down. So that was, for me, that was a struggle. And I feel like we're often told, how to sound and what to say and how to act. And it can take us out of integrity instead of being in it.
Yeah. Well, I agree with Monica. We're so glad that you found your voice and
Yeah.
can and help lead others to be there too.
Mhm.
So, Cori, what are your thoughts?
I think for me, and especially in the sense of the way we've been talking about integrity and kind of how it comes in contact with like being authentic, I think for me, I really struggled with being authentically me in my story. So when you're in business, you're your face of your brand, and it's really important to have your own like origin story. And for me, my origin story, which is a big part of why I'm even in business, is my story of how I found out I was going to go blind, and how I live with a disability, and how I do business and things of that nature. And for the first couple of years of my business, I really struggled to say that, because I thought people would say, well, she's blind, she's incapable. And so I would shy away from telling people that I was legally blind and that I was someone who did business with a disability. And it wasn't until I got with a coach that was like, girl, that's your superpower. Like, that's the thing that sets you apart. That's your inspiration, the motivation behind what you do. And I never thought of it that way. I was so afraid almost to be found out. Like if they find out I can't see well, they're going to cancel their contract, or they're going to cancel their call. They're not going to want to sign on with me. They're going to want to not pay me what I'm worth. You know, I was afraid to even speak in public certain places, like, oh my God, I look a little different, all these things. And now I'm telling you, it has made all the difference, because when I have someone new come to me and they're struggling for whatever reason, whether it's a disability or not, and I tell them my story, they're like, oh my God, if you can do it, I know I can do it. Like, I know that you got to be a hard worker because you're overcoming these obstacles. And now I turn that kind of what I thought was a weakness into my strength. And now I'm able to be honest, really, with myself and others, to say, hey, this is me. Look, take me for who I am. Take me with all the baggage or whatever I come with, however they want to see it. And I'm able to just be my authentic self. I recently, because I know we have a few minutes, I recently had an eye surgery, and I was concerned because I couldn't wear makeup. So I was like, am I going to go live in my community? I told them I was going to, show up live. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And they were so supportive. I had no makeup on. My hair was a mess. And I was like, guys, just had eye surgery. Can't even see you guys. And I'm still going to show up for you. And this is me. Like, this is a part of the journey. And people were like, yes, people booked calls. They were like, I'm going to sign up with her because I showed up as myself in its rawest form. And that's why I'm always encouraging people, like, do it. No matter what, you don't have makeup on today, do it. You don't, you don't have all the right words to say just yet, do it anyway. And that was one of the ways that I kind of dealt with that fear of really being me and showing up truthfully as myself. And I think that it really impacts people more if we can try to show up as best we can authentically with integrity.
That's amazing. Well, it was great. While you were talking, one of your fans showed up, Margaret, and said, "You are amazing, Cori," and they sending you lots of positive vibes. And both of you touched on so many key things. It brought back my own memories. You know, when you're growing up, you're so worried about what everybody's thinking about you and what they're, whether they like you, whether whether you're meeting their expectations. And so I think, when I went into business, I was definitely had lost a lot of my own authenticity. And, I did actually show up kind of fake. And so it was tough. And the biggest learning that I've made, and so an improvement I've made in personal development, is realizing you're not here to make everybody happy. You're not here to please everybody. You're here for a purpose. Find your purpose, and then use that, to enjoy life. So I think from a standpoint of, like Cori was saying, as soon as she shared, she gave support to so many people who were in the same position as her. And so when I'm talking to people and sharing my stories, I know my difficulties, my struggles. I know that there's somebody out there that has been through it also. I am not that unique. And so sharing is a way of helping those people out there. And it causes you to be more authentic, and definitely, my integrity shows, because I'm willing to show that I'm human, that I'm not perfect, and that I struggle too. So I'm glad you guys were warmed up here, and Margaret's agreeing with me. That's
Yeah.
great.
Can I chip in? I'm thinking, actually, when we grow up, right, we know that we need to fit in and we need to be loved to survive, right? And that's growing up. Being an entrepreneur is actually being a grown up. It's not growing up, right? And it's one of the hardest things that we can ever do, because you cannot build a business based on what will everyone love.
Yeah.
Because that will never happen. Some people will not love what you do. Some people will not love you. And that's a part of actually being a grown, responsible person and own what you're doing, and having the courage to also have people not like you. Because the good thing is, if there are people that don't like you, there are people that will absolutely adore you. But if we never step out that far, we will just be, like no one will even notice, right? So it's a part of actually being grown and responsible entrepreneur, we need to step into our power and risk being rejected from some people so that others will embrace us and love us.
Mm-hmm. So true. And yeah, Margaret was saying most often we wait for people to validate us. And, a lot of times those people are struggling with something that we've said or something, but they don't want to acknowledge it. They're not ready. They're not ready to embrace us. And we just have to accept that. It's Cori mentioned it before, you're going to attract who's the right time, right place, those people who connect with you and that can benefit from your services. So, such great conversation. So, also, we have a comment. We all come into this world without our without our own skills. Yet we going looking for what is already in us. I love this conversation. Thanks again, Margaret, for chirping in and being with us today. So, gain knowledge. What is one tip for maximizing your business by focusing on leadership? Cori, we're going to start with you this time.
If I had to give like a tip, it would definitely go back to, again, be the kind of leader you need to be in that moment. And it may just be you leading yourself, to be honest, because I work with solo entrepreneurs, so sometimes they're starting out as just them and themselves. And so be the person that you need to be in that moment. Meaning that if you know that you have a weakness, say you need to brush up on some skills. It could be, you need to do marketing for your business. I need to do better with social media. You may need to do a little research, and that's part of your leadership, learning, knowledge, right? Because you have to be someone who is competent at your job. Maybe part of your leadership is, again, consistency, showing up. That's a part of leadership as well. A good leader will show up and be there for their audience. Maybe you need to increase your confidence. Well, that could be through knowledge, that could be through skill building, that could be through just doing it more times. The more you do it, the better you'll become. So whatever the case may be, look at, the components that are going into your business. Find out, and I always say do like a SWOT analysis, look at your strengths, your weaknesses, the threats and opportunities. But look at that, and where you think you may fall short, brush up on those skills so that you can show up as the best version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, you want to be the best you can be. It doesn't have to be the best next person, but definitely the best you can be. And in the sense of, like I said, how we've been forming this conversation around leadership, around integrity, around being authentically you. Let's all strive in this new year to be the best us that we can be through, just like I said, brush up on the weaknesses as best you can and realize it's a journey regardless, and you'll be just fine.
All right. All right. So, Monica, what's your one tip for uh,
Using leadership
maximizing
to
your business?
maximize.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maximizing your business by focusing on leadership.
Well, we all have that one thing that we know, this is the one thing that would take me one step further in my business, right? And that one thing that we're avoiding, the one thing that makes your stomach turn around one extra, like, woo, right? And that's the one thing that will take your business one step further. So we need to take ourselves, we need to lead by doing that one painful thing and face that fear, right? Because behind that fear is something that we really, really, really want. That's why it's so painful. So sometimes we just need to sit in the pain and honor that this is what I need to do. And I need to pick myself up and do that one thing.
That's great. In leadership, it is challenging. And I think that when like you said, both of you talked about building your skills and expanding your skills. And I think that's key taking a moment to step up when I know there's so many situations I've been in, and I've sat back and go, no, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And then you realize in the situation, somebody needs to step up and lead. And I love Monica's comment in the chat. If you show up vulnerable first, then others will follow. And then there's so much more genuineness in the conversation, and you're leading by example. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and you can't let your inner, I call her my inner teenager, that causes self-sabotage sometimes, just like, I refuse to do that, right? And now I so often I see myself even doing like stuff that's not even scary, just boring. And I'm like, I don't want to do that, And then I start voicing that. I refuse. And then it just gets stupid, right? Because I can't let my inner teenager stop me in my tracks. And that's my job. I need to pick me out of that, right? And I have some amazing tools to do that, but we need to create awareness around that first. We need to see where are my fears? Where is the self-sabotage? Where is the procrastination? And what is really underneath? And then deal with it. Because if we just push through all the time, it gets really exhausting. Yeah. So we have to deal with the real issue underneath with compassion and love, but not being blind to what's going on.
Yeah. It goes back to something Cori said too. You got to start with yourself. So taking that moment to really understand why you're feeling the way you are and what's stopping you from taking that leadership step. So awesome, ladies, you've been just so wonderful. We want to get to the next phase of the program, which is our announcements. So, who are we starting? Cori. So what do you have to share with us?
So I just want to again talk about the fact that I'm a CEO. I own iRock Marketable Business Solutions. And if you are someone who wants to start a business, who has a business, but just isn't hitting the goals, the revenue goals, the profit goals, getting to the people you want, making the impact you want, if you're one of those individuals, especially if you are a coach or consultant, I would just encourage you to book a free call just to chat with me. We don't have to do a sales call, nothing like used car salesman, nothing like that. I love to just find out what you are trying to accomplish. And if I can help you, I definitely will. But if I can't, I will point you in the right direction. That's the promise I have to you. So definitely you can use that link, book a free call, and I would love to chat.
That sounds great. So Monica.
Yeah, same. I would love to chat with anyone who resonated with what we talked about today. If you're ready to step up in your business, if you want to step up without increasing that imposter syndrome, but rather decreasing it instead, and see how you can build your business and create more success in your life doing that, I would love to talk. There's a link in the chat.
Okay, great. Well, I'm excited in that I have recently become a grandmother. And so it's brought back all those nurturing nature I have. And I have 3 wonderful children. And I do consider myself a super mom. I had a successful career for years while I was raising my kids. And I'm offering a super mom 101 program. So if you want to take your momhood to the next level, by all means, check this program out. It could be perfect for you this year. Next up, we would like doing a video. Oh, okay. So there's lots of different ways that you can be involved. How about joining us on this live? We have Wednesday at 9 and Thursday at 2 for you to join us. It's turned into a podcast, so you can listen to this show if you want on these different platforms. And we were covering maximizing your business was the theme today, with leadership and integrity as our key topic. We also cover build your brand. So we have a So if you haven't participated in one of the conferences, it's a must. It's a must. They're workshops. You actually have the opportunity. There's so many things, so much wisdom that comes from these conferences, and it allows you to walk away with action items. So this is a perfect time of year as we're looking forward to making plans for what we're doing with our business. So taking the opportunity to jump in and attend one of the conferences would be very beneficial. I appreciate you ladies joining me here today. It's been great having a conversation, and I hope that the rest of your day goes well.
Thank you. Lovely being here.
Thank you.
Take care.